Twisted, 2026, begins with a tense and seductive atmosphere that immediately establishes the film's themes of deception, obsession, identity, and psychological manipulation. The story first follows a young woman searching for a luxurious rental property in New York. A charming real estate agent with an elegant English accent gives a mesmerizing tour of an expensive apartment filled with antique furniture, golden lighting, and romantic imagery. The agent speaks poetically, making the apartment sound almost magical. She tells the woman that the property is being offered below market value and pressures her to decide quickly because many people are supposedly interested. Completely enchanted, the woman agrees to rent it immediately. However, when she arrives later to move in, a confused man opens the door and claims he has never heard of the real estate agent or the woman's name. The phone number the agent used has already been disconnected. It becomes clear that the entire showing was an elaborate scam. The movie then shifts to reveal the true masterminds behind these frauds, Paloma and Smith, a stylish criminal couple who travel around the country running sophisticated rental scams. They use fake identities inspired by famous literary characters like Emma Woodhouse, Daisy Buchanan, and Francesca de Rimini. Paloma is the more daring and manipulative one, while Smith is calmer and more cautious. Together they seduce wealthy clients, steal deposits, and disappear before anyone realizes they have been conned. Their relationship is intense, passionate, and toxic. They clearly love each other, but neither fully trusts the other emotionally. During a night out in a nightclub, they flirt, argue, and discuss their future. Paloma complains that their scams are becoming boring because people are too easy to fool. Smith, however, worries about attracting attention after a previous incident in Baltimore nearly exposed them. Their criminal partnership operates like a dangerous game, with both trying to outdo the other through increasingly risky scams. The tension rises when they receive an email from someone using the alias Daisy Buchanan, another literary reference. The message appears to have originated from one police plaza in Manhattan, suggesting the police may be tracking them. Smith panics and wants to flee immediately, remembering how close they came to getting arrested before. Paloma, however, refuses to back down. She believes someone is only trying to scare them. Instead of escaping, she proposes a competition. They will each choose a new scam target, and whoever succeeds first wins. The winner gets to decide where they travel next. Paloma selects a luxurious Brooklyn brownstone owned by Dr. Robert Kezian, a world-famous neurosurgeon specializing in experimental brain surgery and cranial transplantation research. Smith chooses a rundown cottage rental in Woodstock. While Smith sees his target as safer and easier, Paloma is attracted to the challenge of manipulating someone wealthy and intelligent. She researches Dr. Kezian and learns about his groundbreaking medical work and his tragic personal history involving his deceased wife Rebecca. The film then introduces Dr. Robert Kezian properly. He is shown performing delicate brain surgery at a prestigious hospital. He is brilliant, respected, and deeply obsessed with advancing neurological science beyond ethical limits. Conversations with his colleague reveal that he has already experimented with partial brain transplantation on animals, but desperately wants permission to perform the procedure on living humans. Robert feels trapped by medical regulations and frustrated that his revolutionary ideas are being delayed by bureaucracy. At the same time, he remains emotionally broken from the death of his wife Rebecca, who was also a neuroscientist and intellectual equal. Paloma approaches Robert disguised as Fleur Forsyte, presenting herself as a sophisticated real estate professional looking to rent his property. During the house tour, she skillfully charms him with intelligence, confidence, and emotional sensitivity. Robert opens up about his wife's death and the painful memories attached to the house. Paloma pretends to connect deeply with the home's energy, making Robert feel understood and emotionally vulnerable. Impressed by her elegance and warmth, he agrees to rent her the brownstone. Once alone inside the mansion, Paloma reveals her true intentions during a phone conversation with Smith. She celebrates how easily she manipulated Robert and explains her plan to scam multiple wealthy renters simultaneously. She disables the house security cameras, copies keys, learns the alarm codes, and begins preparing the con in detail. Smith remains impressed by her confidence but still warns her not to push too far. As the scams continue, another storyline develops involving two detectives investigating a string of rental frauds connected by literary aliases. Detective Diane Warwicker becomes convinced that the same woman is responsible for all the crimes. Her partner initially treats the case casually, but Diane sees patterns that others miss. She notices the scammer's obsession with literary references and sophisticated disguises. The police begin narrowing their search toward recent luxury rental listings. Meanwhile, Paloma attempts another scam while posing with an Irish accent to seduce a wealthy client named Tad. She manipulates him flirtatiously while trying to secure money from him, but the situation suddenly turns violent. Tad aggressively misreads her intentions and attempts to sexually assault her. A brutal struggle follows through the house. Paloma fights desperately for survival, eventually stabbing and killing him in self-defense after a horrifying confrontation. Severely injured and traumatized, she collapses from blood loss. When she awakens, Paloma finds herself imprisoned in a mysterious underground medical facility. Dr. Robert Kezian has secretly rescued her instead of reporting her to the police. However, rather than helping her recover normally, he has chained her inside what appears to be a hidden laboratory beneath his property. Robert claims she is dangerous and unstable, insisting he only wants to protect her and others. Paloma is horrified and confused, demanding freedom and threatening to confess all her crimes if he contacts the authorities. The film gradually becomes more psychological and disturbing. Robert reveals that he already knows Paloma's true identity because he tested her DNA. Her fake backgrounds and stolen identities mean nothing to him because biological evidence exposed her real past. He speaks cryptically about saving the world and hints that his medical experiments require a human subject. The underground lab contains another terrifying figure, a disfigured man with severe cranial abnormalities who appears violent and unstable. Paloma nicknames him Lenny. The existence of this patient strongly suggests Robert has already been conducting illegal neurological experiments in secret. As Paloma remains trapped, she begins realizing the situation is far worse than prison. Robert views her not simply as a criminal but as a possible solution to his scientific ambitions. His obsession with brain transplantation and defeating death appears connected to his inability to let go of Rebecca. He behaves with calm professionalism while simultaneously acting deeply unstable and morally corrupted. The situation worsens when Smith finally locates the house and attempts to rescue Paloma. He sneaks inside and finds her chained underground. Their reunion is emotional and desperate. Paloma begs him to help her escape before Robert returns. However, before they can flee, Lenny attacks violently. Chaos erupts in the basement as Robert intervenes and tries to control the situation. During the struggle, Smith is critically wounded. Paloma screams helplessly while Robert calmly attempts to save him, medically treating the disaster like another experiment. As Smith lies dying, Robert's true plan is finally revealed. He intends to use living brain tissue from one person and transplant it into another. Unlike ordinary organ donation, Robert believes the brain contains identity itself, meaning tissue must remain alive during transfer. He sees Smith as the perfect donor candidate for his latest experiment. Horrified, Paloma realizes Robert has already been preserving other victims and using them in grotesque neurological procedures. Robert begins operating on Smith while recording clinical notes in a cold, detached tone. He speaks scientifically about grafting living tissue, exposing frontal lobes, and testing cognitive transfer while Paloma watches in terror. During the operation, she desperately tries to reach Smith emotionally. In one heartbreaking moment, Smith tells her he loves her. Earlier in the film, Paloma always avoided saying those words, directly responding only with same. But now, faced with losing him forever, her emotional walls finally collapse. The surgery appears partially successful in a horrifying way. Smith's consciousness briefly survives within another body, Tad, the wealthy man who previously attacked Paloma and whom Robert had secretly kept alive. When the altered Tad awakens, fragments of Smith's personality emerge. He references their old conversations, including their joke about Baltimore, proving that part of Smith still exists within the transplanted tissue. However, the result is unstable and monstrous. Tad's body violently rejects the procedure, leading to another brutal confrontation. Paloma is devastated as she realizes Robert has destroyed Smith's identity and humanity. The detectives continue piecing together evidence against Robert. They notice inconsistencies in his surveillance footage and discover signs that videos from his security cameras were altered. A neighbor also reports hearing gunshots near the property. Although they still lack enough evidence for an arrest, Warwicker becomes convinced Robert is hiding something horrific beneath the surface of his respectable image. Back underground, Paloma attempts to manipulate Lenny into helping her escape. She appeals to his remaining humanity, telling him they are both prisoners of Robert's madness. For a moment, Lenny seems responsive and leads her through hidden corridors beneath the house. However, before they can fully escape, Robert recaptures her. Robert then reveals the true center of his obsession: Rebecca is not actually dead. Deep inside the hidden facility lies Rebecca's body, maintained artificially through machines and electrical stimulation. She suffers from a severe degenerative neurological disease and exists in a near-vegetative state. Robert has kept her alive in secret for years, refusing to accept her inevitable decline. Every experiment, every victim, and every murder has been driven by his desperate need to restore her mind. Paloma learns that Robert selected her specifically because of her rare genetic compatibility. She has the perfect blood type, strong neurological health, and ideal biological markers for transplantation. Robert believes he can use Paloma's healthy brain tissue to repair Rebecca's damaged brain. Although he claims Paloma could theoretically survive with partial brain removal, it becomes obvious that the procedure will almost certainly kill her. To psychologically prepare Rebecca's brain for the transplant, Robert forces Paloma into Rebecca's clothing and surrounds her with old videos and music Rebecca loved. Classical piano music fills the underground chamber while Robert slips further into delusion. He no longer sees Paloma as a human being but as raw biological material necessary to resurrect his wife. Robert's closest friend and colleague, Dr. Bradshaw, eventually discovers the hidden laboratory. Horrified by what he sees, he confronts Robert directly. Bradshaw accuses him of playing God and abandoning all medical ethics. Robert argues passionately that sacrificing one criminal life to save millions is justified, insisting that history will remember him as a visionary rather than a murderer. Bradshaw refuses to participate and attempts to stop him. Their argument turns violent, ending with Robert shooting Bradshaw to protect his secret. Meanwhile, the detectives finally secure a warrant and storm the property with a SWAT team. Paloma manages to partially free herself while Robert prepares the final surgery. Police officers search the mansion and eventually discover the hidden underground entrance. Inside, they find preserved bodies, medical horrors, and evidence of illegal experimentation, but Robert has already fled deeper into the facility with Rebecca. In the climax, Robert successfully completes a final procedure on Rebecca using tissue harvested from Paloma. When Rebecca awakens, she initially appears restored. Robert is overcome with joy and believes he has achieved the impossible. Rebecca weakly asks about the donor whose tissue saved her. Robert lies, claiming he never truly knew the donor and that she had no family. However, the ending reveals the terrifying truth. Rebecca now carries fragments of Paloma within her. Small details begin surfacing: Paloma's phrases, memories, and instincts emerging inside Rebecca's mind. The most chilling moment occurs when Rebecca notices the bracelet engraved S and J Eva, symbolizing Paloma and Smith's relationship. Rebecca suddenly gasps and whispers "Grazie mille," one of Paloma's signature expressions used throughout the film. This final scene implies that Paloma's consciousness survived inside Rebecca just as Smith's consciousness briefly survived inside Tad. The movie ends ambiguously, suggesting Robert may have succeeded scientifically while completely destroying human identity in the process. Twisted, 2026, closes as a disturbing blend of psychological thriller horror and tragedy about brief obsession and the terrifying consequences of trying to conquer death through science. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.